Afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Stephen Howson. Quick transfer talk. United are about to sign someone. Stop the press. Get ready for the parades. 21 is coming because United are signing another goalkeeper that we didn't necessarily need. And as I just said on Twitter, for those who've joined me over from Twitter, why have we got more goalkeepers and strikers? Who's Tom Heaton pissed off? Dubravka's gone because I think we realised he was gash. And you go, okay, so that leaves David De Gea. You've got Tom Heaton. You don't need anyone else. You've got your youngsters. I mean, technically, we've still got Dean Henderson out on loan. I don't see him ever coming back to the club because of the things that he said, but you think, okay, why the hell do we need another goalkeeper? I mean, I'd love to know what Tom Heaton's done. Now, I do have hardly breaking news insight, but I have a little bit of an insight, and it's that Erik Ten Hag wants 3 goalkeepers. All right, cool, but why do we have more goalkeepers and strikers? Make that one make sense. So Jack Butland is undergoing his medical ahead of what will be a loan move from Crystal Palace. That's to replace Dubravka as number 2, and I guess keep Tom Heaton as number 3, which when we signed Tom Heaton, I know Tom Heaton had offers to start in the Premier League, and he chose to come to United as a backup where he thought he would play in the Cups and this, that and other because he is a United fan. That's not happened. I, for one, am amazed he's still here. I can't believe no one's come in for him. He's a brilliant goalkeeper, very, very good goalkeeper. Jack Butland, younger than I thought he was, actually. He's 29. He has actually got 9 caps for England. The last one was in 2018 where he was part of the World Cup squad. And judging by the squad number, he was second choice behind Pickford and actually ahead of Pope at the time. He's at Crystal Palace where he's been there for 3 seasons. He only made 17 appearances so far. Last game was a 3-2 defeat to Everton at Goodison Park. Before that, he was at Stoke for 8 seasons. Also been at Birmingham. He actually won Stoke Player of the Year twice in 2016, 2019. United will be the 5th loan that he's had in his career, others being Cheltenham, Birmingham, Barnsley, Leeds and Derby County. I'm confused. I'm confused about what Tom Heaton is meant to do. I'm confused about who's number 2. You know, is there an announcement video coming? Dubravka played in the League Cup. Do you think we'll see Butland feature in that? Do you think Tom Heaton's going to feature in that? Do you think there'll be some rotation? I mean, that's Tuesday night, so you'd have to see. Last season, he made 8 starts in the Premier League, conceded 1.4 goals per game, but was playing for Palace. Saved 1 out of 1 penalties. Madness. I mean, obviously, get your comments in. Get your opinions in, and I'll read some of yours out there as well. Abanev says, Tom is more solid. Jack Butland doesn't fill me with real confidence. Jockey says, Monesty, Happy New Year. What has Tom said, and who's he pissed off? Brian Casey says, why have only 3 keepers and only play 2? Why have 3 times as many keepers as strikers? Daniel says, Dean Henderson reminds me of Ben Foster. Should have sold him after the Sheffield United loan. Notch says, I presume Ten Hag doesn't rake any of our keepers outside of De Gea. Sounds like it. Jake says, to appease the fans. Which fans were clamouring for a goalkeeper, mate? Danny says, maybe Eaton can play up front. Sam says, apparently Newcastle recalled Dubravka because they're planning on selling one of their other keepers. Fair enough. But either way, why do United need to dip into the market with such urgency to bring in a goalkeeper when we're not doing anything like this for a striker? David says, I've learned not to frown and question Ten Hag even when something seems odd, maybe. Daniel says, I think it's just coverage, but it's obvious Ten Hag doesn't fancy Heaton, plus goalkeepers are easier to come by, strikers cost cash. Keepers and strikers are quite hard to find, to be honest. Anyway, and we know, obviously, Jack Butland to United is the biggest news in world football this week. outside of the fact that that bloke who used to play up front for United, Cristiano Ronaldo, I think he's called, he's banned at his new club in the Saudi part-time league. James Ducker says Pep Guardiola has claimed that United and Arsenal are not facing the same sky-high expectations as City in the Premier League title race, and he believes that could work against them. Oh, fucking really? You're supposed to be the greatest manager that's ever fucking lived, and you're up against the guy that used to be your cone man and a United team that's not finished inside the top 4 consistently since Ollie and hasn't won a title in 10 years. You think there's a little bit more pressure on you? You're the literal champions, you bald fuck. You've also got an absolute cyborg up front who's got 21 goals, literally, before Christmas, in a shorter first half of a season, has got enough goals to win most of the Premier League's Golden Boots. You think there's more pressure on you? Are you fucking insane? Yes, Manchester City are expected to win the league. Liverpool have completely and utterly shit the bed. You're up against Arsenal, who were cruising nicely towards 20 years without winning it. Honestly, Pep, if Arsenal win the league this year, it's on you. How do you sign Erling Haaland and get worse? How do you do that? How do you do that? Thought you were a fucking genius. Literally. Fuck me. James Ducker, that was that one. De Gea's in contract talks. Currently the highest paid goalkeeper in the world, but it's been reported that he is willing to take a pay cut. He says he hopes to stay here for the rest of his career. I was saying that this is my club. I've been here many, many years. It's a huge honour to be here, and I'm happy to be here. Daley Blind to Bayern Munich, released by Ajax, now signing for Bayern Munich on a free. Some career Daley's had. Chelsea's bid for Enzo seems to have stalled for now, which I'm pleased about, to be honest. I mean, it was a serious amount of cash. How are Chelsea spending 500, 600 million in the last 2 or 3 seasons and no one's saying anything about it? And they're still like miles off looking like a complete side. I'm shocked that Potter's looked as bad as he has. But I can't believe that this Chelsea side has fell off to the level that it has as well. Brian says, I heard George Mendes had nothing to do with the Ronaldo deal to Saudi. Have they parted ways? I did see something last night that said Mendes was upset with him doing an interview with Piers Morgan and that he might not have had much to do with what's gone on at Saudi and that he might be parting ways. But I haven't seen it reported anywhere. I literally just saw it on social media, so I'm not going to parrot that and say that that's real because I don't know if that's the case or not. Richard says, do I think that the Haaland to City is like Ronaldo first season, scores all the goals, but the team is worse? I'd like to throw this out there, right? I loved Ruud van Nistelrooy. I think he's one of the greatest strikers the Premier League has seen. But I think what happened at the time we signed Ruud, United was going through a structural change, moving towards more of a 4-3-3 sort of side, away from being the 4-4-2 sort of side. And even though Ruud individually was successful, I thought we were a worse team around that time, partially because of Ruud, partially because of, I think we were trying to fit in a new system. You remember Veron? Veron got the brunt of that. Veron, Roy Keane and Paul Scholes should have been a dream midfield, and it just wasn't for whatever reason. It didn't quite click. And like I said, this isn't digging Ruud out in any sense whatsoever, and I think it could be the same thing going on with Haaland. Haaland, he's doing his job, but does the way the team has to set up make it worse? I don't know. It's just a gut feeling that I have about that. Ben says, Laurie and Andy Mitten confirmed the Mendes news on the Athletic podcast. That's pretty solid then. I will have a look at it. Jake says, Agent Rio would do a good job for Ronaldo in the future. Notch says, the system didn't suit everyone to fit in Ruud. Yeah, I think that's my sort of gut feeling on it as well. Like, I think Ruud was fantastic for us, but I think that the things that had to change to accommodate him, which I can sort of see, like United signed Ruud in very similar circumstances to when City signed Haaland. We've just won 3 on a bounce. I think they've won 2 on a bounce. You spend a lot of money on him. Absolute machine of a goal scorer. The similarities are massive. And then it just doesn't quite work out for whatever reason. Maguire is our backup striker, says Mayank. When am I going back on Paddock? Today. I haven't been in. I've been ill. We literally did a live show on Friday in Dublin, which was awesome. Daniel Berry says the Mendes Ronaldo thing is interesting. I agree. Adam says crazy how no one talks about Chelsea spending. Alex says, how am I doing? Are you looking forward to the rest of the season? I am looking forward to the rest of the season. I've been saying this for a minute, and I've actually started seeing some of the wider media picking it up, starting to say things like United are back. Fucking Gabby Agbonlahor this morning was saying that United are in a title race. I don't think so. But I think the fact that people are even saying that sort of shit means we're doing well. The progress is there. I think if we can finish inside the top 4, I'd love a trophy. But finish inside the top 4 and get some signings right for next season, I think we could be in a title race next season. Like, our form over the last 15 games is title race form, but the points we dropped at the start of the season probably negate us being in that. Now, we're not even at the halfway point, so it'd be crazy to completely rule ourselves out of it right now. But also, we're in the Europa still. We can go the distance in all of the cups still. There's a lot of games to play, and we do not have a striker. I think the team is good, but it's still fragile. I don't think we've quite built up a squad just yet. Jed says, if we get 4 points out of Arsenal and City, then we are in a title race. Maybe. Didn't think of it like that. But yeah, maybe. Michael says, any thought around trying to get someone from Juventus given their financial crisis? Absolutely. Richard Porter, Souness comments look more and more ridiculous every time Casemiro pulls on a United shirt. Dennis says, do we need a replacement for Donny? I would argue no. Luca Brazzi says, Craig Burley isn't. He won't give Ten Hag any credit at all. Do you know what? I might do a Craig Burley video. Should we dig into him? I have a Reddit group, and I don't use it a lot. And I want to use it a lot more. I'm going to go and start a thread on Reddit right now. So it's Reddit /Howson. r/Howson. And I'm just going to type it in. Craig Burley, can you give me links to and articles and videos, and we'll put together a fucking hit piece on Craig Burley. So it's up there now. I will post it, and I'll throw the link in the chat here if you want to come and join in. It's got quite ninja spam filters, so you might need to wait a little bit so I can approve everyone's posts. But I'm just going to throw this in the chat here now. There's the link. As soon as we're done, if you want to go over and comment whatever you need to comment, any of the links, anything like that. Dale says, can we just take a moment to appreciate how good Casemiro is and has been? It's a joke. He honestly reminds me of Roy Keane, and that is about the highest compliment I could ever pay somebody. What happened to Anthony? He's had a couple of back-to-back shit games. Hopefully he'll come through them. Daniel says Casemiro needs to start wearing a cape. Fadil says, can't be winning a trophy with Martial as our main man up front. The man is the laziest player I ever saw. We need to win some silverware, says Paul Lucas. Casemiro looks a snip at 60 million. Josh, Craig Burley regularly went on United on Solskjaer too. Widge, love the word widge. It's criminally underutilised insult. Abhinav says, when Ole was manager, we lost 2-0 to City in the League Cup semis. He was bashing United that we were poor. Craig Burley was like, mate, it was more even. And then he said he didn't watch the match. No, he didn't. Please find me that. SCP says, someone asked Kara if Kanate and Van Dijk conceded 3 because they're too tall. Yeah. Yeah, the signings of Casemiro, Eriksen and Martinez no matter what happens the rest of the season, have been proven to be excellent signings. Jury's out on Anthony. He's done all right. Bit ropey at the moment. I expect he'll probably come good. But I think it's one of those. Mr. Elbow Yeti says, why didn't you speak much at the live event? I was looking forward to hearing more from you. I nearly didn't come. Janine ended up staying in bed while I went to the event because she was ill. We were both ill. When I got there, I was 50-50 about going out. Makola says to us, look, we could just do the first half. And then the plan was that I was going to go at half time when we had the interval and not come back out. Whatever illness I've had, we got back from Qatar. I was basically wiped out till Christmas Day. Thought I was getting better, like Boxing Day onwards. Travelled to Dublin, just doing the rehearsals and going out for something to eat in the day in Dublin absolutely wiped me out to the point where I've been ill again. And I even struggled at the game the other night. I couldn't stand up. I had to keep sitting down. So it's just the flu that everybody's got. Like it seems like the entire country's got it at the moment, but I'm struggling. Like I haven't been to the gym yet this year. I'm annoyed at that because I wanted to really kick in and build on the progress that I made last year, but I'm too ill. Just absolutely on my arse with it. Harris says, thoughts on Vlahovic? We spoke about him a couple times, but yeah, I absolutely would love a bit of that. Jake says, pretty sure you picked up a bug from the Glazers when they were there, destroying everything they go near. Patrick Vuong says, do I think Liverpool will finish top 4 this season? I think it's getting to the point where they might not. I think Arsenal and City are pretty much a shoe-in. I think United and Newcastle probably are going to be 3rd and 4th. I don't know which way round that's going to be. I think Spurs will probably just miss out. And I think Liverpool could be 6th at best, the way it's going. They are capable of putting a run together, and they've definitely got goals in them. But it's one of those, isn't it, I think. No Gas TV's just dunked in a super chat. Thank you very much. No comment, though. Knight says, game versus Birmingham. De Gea was distributing well. Funnily enough, he distributed down the left where Lindelof and Shaw was, none to Maguire. Have you not noticed it yet? Did you notice it during the World Cup that Pickford didn't pass to Maguire? Did anybody notice that? Colin says, do I think Ivan Toney could lead the line for us? Yes. I just think he's probably got a ban coming his way soon. That's probably why he's not been spoken about. Fadil says, Conte and Lampard getting a sack in February. I don't know if they'll sack Conte. He definitely seems like the kind of cat to walk away, though. Jed says, I'm all in on 21. He's coming. Next year, maybe. Not yet. Mark says, have I got any info about the loan bid for Felix going in? No, I just don't really... It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Daniel says, how has Klopp been nominated for Manager of the Month, but Ten Hag hasn't? What? Really? Tom Smith says, Michael Carrick is doing bits in the Championship. Michael Carrick is doing bits in the Championship. I might go and watch a game, actually, because they play a really tactically interesting sort of lineup. It looks a lot like the way Ten Hag plays. A lot the way Ten Hag plays. Hostad says, I appreciate that Ten Hag has put Maguire on the right, made a difference even though he's not Varane or Martinez. Fadil says, Rooney being linked to the Everton job. I didn't think of that, actually, but yeah. Kieran McKenna as well. Yeah, there's a lot. I actually wouldn't be surprised to see Ollie take up the Everton job if it was available. I think it could happen. Glenn says, Carrick, future United manager. I think... JD and Coke says, Danny Welbeck on loan could do bits. Not the craziest idea for 6 months ever. It's better than the nothing that we've got. Carrick's future United manager. I think he's got to win things. And that could be the Championship. But I think then you're going to want the Premier League proof. And can you handle having money? Stephen says, got an interview in 40 minutes. Any tips, Steve? Yeah, the best interview sort of question I've ever heard is when they ask you if you've got any questions, make sure you've got a question. And a good question that shows that you're thinking about what you're doing is to say, if you hire me today, in 12 months' time, how will you measure that I've been a success? Or by what metrics are you measuring that I've been a success? and then they basically have to give you the things that they're looking for you to do. Make sure you write them down and hit them, and then you can go back in and ask for a pay rise. Richard said Jay would explode if we got well back. Raka says Ten Hag will be staying at United for 15 years and building a club back to glory. I've said this a few times, but I really think if we end up with some, I mean, I've literally got a fucking list here of, oh, look at that, you can't even see it. We're preparing a video for potential takeover targets. I think the 6 sort of groups, you've got a Saudi group, you've got Jim Ratcliffe, there's a Dubai group, there's a Beckham and Qatar group, there's an American group, and there's a Chinese group. That might not be an exhaustive list. That probably isn't an exhaustive list, but I think that's probably the 6 groups that we're looking at potentially buying Manchester United. And we don't really know a lot of any of them outside of Jim Ratcliffe, really. I think if he's given the sort of investment that some of those groups are able to give, I think Ten Hag does stay for 15 to 20 years and does make another dynasty at Manchester United. I think I've never seen someone more suited to us. And the proof is in the pudding with him, and he is proving it on a daily basis how good he is. The one thing I think he has to prove is, can he tactically win a game? You know, if we was to play City at home next week and he tactically plays it, even the way Ollie did, being very counter-attacking, very rigid, very solid, and beat them on the counter, I would be very happy to see us have the tactical flexibility in Ten Hag to be able to go and do that. Hostad says Apple wouldn't be bad. Apple chargers in every seat. Bob says if the rumours that Newcastle are in for Thuram, surely it would make sense strengthening our team and blocking them from strengthening. Yeah, Newcastle are going to be around for a very long time. Reece says, when's Jay getting a Rashford tattoo? We'll ask him on the brew. We've got Kay Kurd on the brew with us tomorrow. He's a cracking comedian. So make sure to tune in for that and we'll ask him on that. Notch says, hoping we can be the team to oust Lampard, even if it's just for one last Jay Marty tweet. Is that for the yeah, no ones? Brian Kevill says, isn't it wonderful to see Lampard and Gerrard fail consistently at TalkSport, are so protected of them compared to Ollie? If either of them achieved anything that Ollie achieved, they'd have both had a meltdown. Dubsy says, hey Steve, thanks for always giving De Gea respect as the legend he is. Some other United channels disrespect him in a shameful way. I can be honest about De Gea. I think his shot stopping is fantastic. There was times last season where his distribution, not coming off his line, was poor. He's changed things in his game so far this year, and he looks good for it. Brian says, what would be my all-time Premier League United team? The 1999 team. I don't know if you could do it. I don't even know if you could do it decade by decade. This decade would be quite easy. I don't know. I mean, we've had too many legends to do an all-time 11. I think we spoke about this recently on one of the lives. Imagine trying to do an all-time 11 for Barcelona. Just think of some of the attackers Barcelona have had. R9, Romario, Ronaldinho, Cruyff, Messi, Neymar, Suarez, Stoichkov. Do you know what I mean? How the fuck do you do that? Luca Brazzi says, scary Newcastle are doing it the right way, putting the right people in the right places. Yeah, you're only hearing things about the behind the scenes with Newcastle, and that's scary. Alexander says, we need Felix. I don't necessarily agree with that. In fact, let's see what you guys think. Felix, yes. Felix, no. Bosh it in the chat. Let me know what you think. Felix, yes. Felix, no. I know we need a striker, but I think it's just signing someone that plays in Bruno's position. Let's see what you guys are saying. Loads of no's. Mitrovic or Welbeck, says Abhinav. Felix loan fee is ridiculous, says Fadil. John says Depay. Dan says Thuram. Daniel Berry says, you seem convinced Ten Hag wants a traditional number 9. Not sure why. I think it's looking at what his teams have done previously and looking at what we're set up now. When he plays a 4-2-3-1, the striker tends to be a bit more of a battering ram style. Your hold up, your line leader, your traditional number 9. When he plays a 4-3-3, you can often see him almost line up like in a 4-4-2 diamond, by having your 2 wide men invert and having your number 9 as a false 9, basically the tip of the diamond. And with Bruno being in the team, Bruno's already kind of doing that. So unless we was going to... I don't think it'd be crazy to see Bruno used as a false 9 and another midfielder coming alongside. Let's say, for example, we had an Enzo or a Bruno and an Eriksen and a Casemiro. That would be a midfield that I could see Ten Hag working with. But I just get the impression we need a number 9, and it'd be a traditional number 9. Kez says we need someone that can hold up and be a poacher. Just a all-round number 9. Jake says, who was the Ajax striker under Ten Hag? Surely he could do bits for 6 months. There's a lot of people have been going, oh, we need someone that can do the job Haaland did. And then someone mentioned it on one of the videos the other day. Oh, what if we got Haaland? Which is a good point. Why not Donny van der Beek as a false 9? Well, we don't even know if he's got a knee at the moment. But yeah, listen, I'm not just going to read out every striker. I mean, we've done tons of videos. There's probably more videos still to go. Literally, most professional top flight strikers would do bits for us. Like, there's not really many wrong answers, although I feel like Felix is a wrong answer. Felix only really plays as a striker in a 2. United aren't going to play him as in a 2, and he literally plays the same sort of space on the pitch that that Bruno plays. And I don't think you pay that much to loan someone to be a backup to Bruno. Apparently, Haller is out due to illness. I wasn't aware of that. If that's the case, then that's the case. Anyways, I'm going to wrap it up right there. We've got a preview coming out a bit later on for tomorrow's FA Cup game, so make sure to check that out. As always, keep it locked. And if you haven't, then check the link that I've pinned over here. It'll probably be down there for you guys. Come and check it out on Reddit. Let's get into it, and I'll probably start preparing a video on Craig Burley because he's a fucking widget, and he needs bringing down a peg or 2. Cheers for tuning in. See you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.